My name is Medea Benjamin. I'm the co-director of a grassroots peace group called Code Pink.
That is the most ridiculous thing I have seen. The world community wants to keep the Iran nuclear deal. Our allies are the Germans, the French, the British. They want to keep in this deal. The world community wants to keep the deal. Let's talk about normal countries. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia. Is that who our allies are? They are the biggest threat to the world community. You are making a case for a war with Iran. How did the war with Iraq turn out? You're doing exactly the same thing we did in the case of Iraq. We don't want another war in the Middle East. Let's
you want to
see.
go outside and give
How
a
does
speech?
Iraq turn out? How did Libya turn out? We have the people of Syria suffering. And how dare you bring up the issue of Yemen? It's the Saudi bombing that is killing most people in Yemen. So let's get real. No more war. Peace with Iran.
Recently, there was a video in the social media that many Iranians actually saw, and they were influenced by the Hudson Institute ceremony that Brian Hook was. He had a speech, and you went in and tried to say things about the Iranian sanctions. Can you please tell me what happened there and what were you trying to say?
I was in the audience listening to this speech, and it's part of this false narrative that is being put forward by the Trump administration, that Iran is this tremendous threat to the United States. It's the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. And I felt it was important to get up and counter that false narrative. So I got up on the stage and I started asking questions about the sanctions and who they are asking about U.S. relations with Saudi Arabia. If Iran is indeed the worst state sponsor of terrorism, what does that make Saudi Arabia? And then there is the question of Yemen, where the U.S. government is acting like the conflict in Yemen is Iran's fault, when it is certainly the fault of Saudi Arabia for the bombing campaign. So those were the kinds of issues that I thought it was important to bring forward to show the lies that are being put forth by Brian Hooks as a representative of the Trump administration.
Did they hurt you? Did they take you to the jail? Or?
No, I have gone to jail on other occasions, but in this occasion, they just took me outside and banned me for life from re-entering the building.
In another occasion, recently you held a conference in subject of peace on Iran, peace with Iran, and in this conference you tried to talk about Iranian sanctions. Can you please talk about that, what happened, and what was the outcome of this conference as well?
Well, the purpose of the conference was to get together people, several hundred, who were concerned about Iran and talk about what we could do. And what came out of that are different committees that would do things like monitor the media and try to get different articles and op-eds published that challenge the Trump administration view. We have another group that is trying to challenge the sanctions, particularly as they pertain to humanitarian goods. And we have another group that was formed that wants to spread Iranian culture so that people could see the beauty and the depth of Iranian culture, like having monthly movie nights, like reading Iranian poetry and literature. That's part of our educational campaign to understand better the Iranian people.
How important is the role of the NGOs, especially anti-war groups, in challenging U.S. sanctions against Iran, and what area of influence and how much impact they have on the U.S. policies towards Iran?
Grassroots activism has had a tremendous impact on foreign policy over the years. I started doing this work in the time of the Vietnam War, and we built up a huge movement that forced a change in government policy. We have seen over the years how grassroots movement have actually stopped the U.S. from intervening on several occasions, including in 2013 when the Obama administration wanted to get more involved in the military intervention in Syria, and there was a large grassroots uprising against that. And I think the support for the Iran nuclear deal under the Obama administration was part of what allowed that deal to pass at that time. So we can have a major impact in helping to shift foreign policy. Well, we have to influence public opinion in order to get the public to get more involved in influencing the policymakers. It's important for us to have Congress take on these issues, and in order to get to those Congress people, we need to counter the influence that exists of the lobby that benefits from war. For example, the weapons manufacturers are constantly lobbying our Congress people. The Israeli lobby is very strong in the United States. The Saudi lobby is very strong. So to counter those influence, we need a grassroots movement. And that's why it's important for us to do this educational work, to mobilize people, to have them visit their Congress people, and show those in power that there is a constituency among the grassroots that wants a different policy. We always have to understand where the different influences are coming from and how we can counter the influence that pushes for a militaristic policy instead of one that focuses on diplomacy and nonviolent resolution of conflicts.
Thank you very much, Mida. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.